Local 4 News starts now with a breaking news alert.
Several breaking stories we're following this noon. In fact, at Detroit Metro Airport, a bomb threat forcing the evacuation of passengers from a Spirit Airlines flight. We're going to be live with the latest.
But first, firefighters rush to a school on Detroit's east side after a fire breaks out. That fire is starting our noon newscast.
Hey, let's get right out to Will Jones, who's there. And what can you tell us, Will?
Hey, Jason and Rhonda, we're at Nolan Elementary and Middle School, and the first thing I want to tell you about it, no injuries. Everyone was able to make it out. Firefighters are still here on scene and trying to make sure that this fire does not rekindle, but it appears that that will not be the case. So here's what was happening. There was some type of graduation here. DPD was here as well, parents, kids, faculty, and DPD noticed the fire and they alerted Detroit Fire Department. Detroit Fire Department, they were on scene in minutes. The call came in around 10:42. They were on scene at 10:45. And when they got to the scene, they saw smoke billowing out of windows of 2 floors. And when they got in the building, it's important to mention that all the kids and faculty were outside, but they wanted to check to make sure that no one else was inside the building, and that was the case. But when they got inside, they found the fire. It was in a closet of a classroom on the first floor. Books were in that closet. They put the fire out. And here's what a parent told us who was arriving to the scene, arriving for this graduation. And can you imagine pulling up and seeing all of this emergency activity and their kid was inside the building? I'll let the parent pick it up from there.
All the fire departments, and y'all, the kids outside in the rain. Well, they raining now, but this don't make no sense. And they graduation, they got to be outside in the rain and it's a fire at the school.
So we're awaiting word from Detroit Public Community School District. Their spokesperson hasn't returned our calls just yet to figure out what they have to say about this. But the good thing is no one was hurt. And it seems like the kids went back in the building. Not sure if this graduation is going to pick back up. But that is what we know for now. And we're going to stay on this. And if we have any updates, obviously we'll put that on. Click on Detroit. We're live on Detroit's east side. Will Jones, Local 4.
Yeah, boy, fortunate that police already on the scene.
On the scene, right, and observant enough to see that. So thankfully, no one was hurt, and they'll, of course, have a graduation they'll never forget.
Yeah, that's true.
The other big story that we're following this noon is a bomb threat that forces the evacuation of passengers on board of a Spirit Airlines flight at Metro Airport.
Everyone able to make it off that plane safely. And as you can see, live pictures from the airport now. This is more weather related. No other flights were impacted, but now authorities working to find out where this threat came from and if it's credible.
Let's get to Damon Fernandez. He joins us now live at the airport. Damon, what are you hearing?
Well, hey there, Rhonda and Jason. I can tell you everything appears to be business as usual back here at the Spirit Airlines check-in counter at Detroit Metro Airport, but that just wasn't the case a couple of hours ago. Take a look at this video. Now, this was the scene on the tarmac of Detroit Wayne Metro Airport just after 9 this morning. You could see a Spirit Airlines jet pulled to the side and surrounded by emergency vehicles after reports of a bomb threat. Now, that plane, we're told, was heading to LAX this morning. The Wayne County Airport Authority's emergency and support services staff, airport operations teams, along with the TSA, were quick to activate and investigate the alleged threat. Our cameras were rolling as passengers were ordered to evacuate the Spirit Airlines plane. They were loaded onto charter buses and shuttled back to the Evans terminal. In a statement, Spirit Airlines is telling us the guests were rescreened and the airport and the aircraft was inspected and cleared by law enforcement. Now, I can tell you this remains an ongoing investigation, but as you can see behind me, it appears to be business as usual back here inside the Evans terminal. For now, we're live at Metro Airport. I'm Damon Fernandez. Back to you guys on studio.
All right, Damon. Once again, Southeast Michigan under an air quality alert, and that advisory as wildfires continue to burn across Canada. Close to 200 wildfires burning at the moment, many of those still out of control on all that smoke drifting across the upper Midwest. And as you saw in some of those live shots, it's hazy, but we also are dealing with some wet weather on top of that.
Absolutely. We are dealing with that haze and air quality issues in parts of the country. It has been a real problem. Particularly for folks with upper respiratory issues. We saw a lot of the thicker smoke, especially towards the northern part of Michigan yesterday. How is it now that we've had the rain, Ashley?
Well, typically rain would get rid of a lot of the pollutants in the upper atmosphere, but what we're seeing is really interesting because some of that smoke now mixing with the fog and the fact that the winds have changed coming out of the north, and that's where those wildfires are located. Now we're seeing air quality issues. So you think we would have had improvement? Not so much. Air quality advisory was issued this morning, and that's going to last until noon tomorrow for all of southeastern Michigan. In fact, all of lower Michigan, as you're taking a look at the dark gray here on the map. So let's go ahead and check in with air quality because that has been getting worse by the hour. So right now, looking at southeastern Michigan, we're sandwiched between moderate to hazardous when it comes to the pollutants across the area, but definitely worse the farther west you go towards Grand Rapids and Kalamazoo. Now, the interesting part, like I mentioned, the smoke layer not as thick across southeastern Michigan compared to what it had been yesterday, but we are mixing this with all of that moisture and almost creating a smog layer out there. So quick look at temperature so you also can see that live look outside where we do have the haze across the area and temperatures are distinctly cooler. That's not wanting to pop up, but I'll also show you the fact that the rain is pushing out. So a few little scattered little showers across southeastern Michigan. We'll walk you through the timeline of when that drier weather really settles in coming up in just a few minutes.
Okay, we'll see you here in a few, Ashley. Meanwhile, serious allegations coming out of Melvinale, where the city council there voting to hire a private investigator to look into the police department.
This comes amid growing concerns over discrimination and a lawsuit because of it the department is now facing. Nick Monticelli in the newsroom with what neighbors have to say about it.
Shame on you guys if you tried to fire him. We stand with the police officers and we stand with our chief.
The Melvinale City Council says the rumor mill was working overtime and there was never a plan to fire the police chief. But now there is an investigation. The council voting to hire an outside investigator to look into the police department, the disciplining of employees, and the Public Safety Commission. The city attorney saying that need was obvious after meeting with the police chief.
He was very candid, and he described the situation going on within the department as chaotic or chaos. I agree with your assessment. We've got to straighten this up.
One pressing issue, a lawsuit filed against the city from a current police officer, Corporal Hassan Hammoud, a practicing Muslim who immigrated to America from Lebanon in 1995, claiming he is experiencing racial discrimination. The lawsuit listed several allegations of racism, including derogatory comments and racially charged items left in his locker with no support from the administration.
And in that complaint, it contains some pretty, if true, really damning statements. I'm not saying it's true. I'm telling you that right now. I'm not acquiescing saying it's true. But the assertions made are alarming, and it needs to be dealt with.
Something else mentioned during the council meeting, a reference to videos the city attorney saw. But right now, we don't know what they show.
And when you look at these videos of the conduct that took place by some of these officers, it's reprehensible. It's absolutely reprehensible. And I think we can all agree to that.
Bottom line, the council agrees. The next step is to get a clear picture of the issue.
Our citizens deserve better, and the financial ruin the city could face as a result of inaction is simply not appropriate. We can't take that risk.
Nick Monticelli, Local 4.
All right, Nick, thank you. A couple charged with smuggling a dangerous biochemical fungus into Detroit's Metro Airport is expected in court this afternoon. Zhang Yanzhan and Zhang Yang Lu are facing serious charges, including conspiracy and visa fraud. The fungus that they were carrying was allegedly brought in for research at the University of Michigan lab. At least that's what they said they brought it in for. According to federal officials, that fungus causes head blight, and it's a disease of wheat, barley, maize, and rice, and it can also cause billions of dollars worth of economic losses worldwide to crops. Its toxins also cause vomiting, liver damage, and reproductive defects among humans and livestock. So it's extremely dangerous. We're going to continue to follow what happens in court today and keep you updated.
The MDOT project on 375 is expected to start soon. MDOT wants to convert the freeway into a street-level boulevard and reconnect Detroit communities that were broken up years ago. The project would also honor the history of Black Bottom and Paradise Valley neighborhoods. If you have questions or maybe some concerns about how this is all going to work, MDOT hosting an open house tonight from 5:30 to 7:30 at the Eastern on Russell Street near Mack Avenue.